Yeah, we're back. Rules and Public Policy happened a couple of days ago because that was the only meeting that happened this week. Why? Well, we all know why. Because they're lazy. Oh, and also Jesse Brown, the communist scumbag, refuses to have a debate with me about the Vision Zero scam. I'll put his phone number in the description so all of you can call and text him and tell him how much of a coward he is. And he smells. But Rules and Public Policy Committee happened. They do talk about the AI, and if you remember a few months ago, I was on the Mouthwash Show, the fastest growing internet show ever. You're welcome, John Schmitz. So I was on that show with Michael Paul Hart as a guest because he was talking about this new AI board that they wanted to create, and I was totally against it. But Michael did make a couple of good points out. Of course, I had to push back a little bit because we know where this is going to go to. We know where it's headed. It's going to be weaponized against the people. It's already happening now. But let's see what happens since they're going to be talking about it.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. This is a meeting of the Rules and Public Policy Committee of the Indianapolis City County Council.
You could tell that he does not do this very often.
Chairman Osley could not make and join us this evening. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint you as temporary chair of the Rules and Public Policy Committee.
Second.
Do I hear consent?
Look, what's going on here?
Consent.
Thank you. All right, let's proceed. First on our agenda is the proposal 210.
Look at that. Everybody turned their microphones away because normally everybody will introduce themselves. But because Bootsy over here, this clown, doesn't know how procedure normally goes. I don't know if it's formal or if it's required or it's just polite. But listen, he's been in this thing for, 8 years now, and he still hasn't figured it out. Oh, and by the way, Andy Nielsen over here, he doesn't want to debate me either.
Which directs the Rules and Public Policy.
And this is a call out to all of you. Andy Nielsen, John Barth, Jesse Brownstein, Fiona McCormick, and all of you other clowns, and Bootsy, of course, who want to push this Vision Zero plan. We know it's a scam. It's more bureaucracy. You keep saying that it's about transparency. Well, you don't need this Vision Zero squad to have more transparency.
The committee to review and prepare a report pertaining to the fiscal impact statement associated with the IMPD.
Hey, what are you doing, Andy?
Civilian
Why are you on your phone, huh?
Union agreement.
Why are you on your phone?
This evening we have Abby Hansen, who's going to go over this. And this isn't something we do not vote on this. We simply adopt it.
What is going
and
on back
turns
here?
into a report from
Got
the
the
council.
cone heads.
Abby, please proceed.
Why is it? Someone please tell me if they actually care about their health where they're wearing a mask.
Good evening, members of the committee. I'm Abby Hansen, Deputy Controller for the Office of Finance and Management. And in the audience are Deputy Chief Cunningham representing IMPD and Jesse Medeiros, Interim President, and Dan Moreland, the Interim Vice President for the AFSCME Local. In late May, IMPD and AFSCME Local 962 finalized a labor agreement for their civilian employees. Per Municipal Code 291-610, once a tentative labor agreement has been reached, the controller is responsible for presenting a fiscal impact study to the Rules and Public Policy Committee, after which the committee will issue a report. And upon receipt of council's report, we will be able to implement the agreement as we present it to you tonight. The table on the screen highlights the major components of the agreement that we reached. The contract will be effective for 18 months, covering the second half of 2024 and all of 2025. The table on the screen shows the different fiscal components. Starting on the left-hand side, there are different financial terms in the agreement. The first left-hand column with numbers are the costs of such provisions today, and this is based off of what is in the 2024 budget because the union agreement is effective on
Lovely.
June 1st, so we made our baseline January 1st of this year.
What's going on?
Moving to the right are the cost of the provisions in 2024 compared to the baseline or how we budgeted it originally, and then their increased cost in 2025. And then finally, the furthest column to the right summarizes the increase for 24 and 25 and gives you the total increase of the contract. So for the presentation, I'm just going to focus on the three largest cost items: base pay increases, longevity, and overtime. The memo covers all of the different contract provisions, and I'm happy to answer any questions about those as well. The contract has a 4% raise in 2024 and 2025, and in the appendix of this presentation, there's a table of the wages for each collectively bargained position. The next slide has a bit more information outlining the longevity and shift premium provisions, like how they're applied to each individual person. But the longevity pay for members starts at the beginning of their third year of service, and it is paid at a rate of 0.5% of the highest union-covered position, and increases by an additional 0.5% annually until the 20th year. The cost of the salary and longevity proposals over the life of the contract is $850,000. The marginal impact in 2024 compared to the base is because 3 of the 4% raise that's being provided was already budgeted for. And the impact on 3% was cost of living. We agreed to 4%. So the small difference is it's only over 6 months and it's only 1%.
It's just 1%. Listen, taxpayers, it's just 1%.
As a result of the wage increases, we are expecting marginal increases in overtime and shift premium at an additional $86,000 together.
This is why government funding, this is why how much money the government has to spend goes up every year. It will never go down. It's because of union contracts. That's a big, big part of it, because every year or every couple of years they have to be renegotiated, and there's just always trying to find some way of weaseling in. And here's the worst part about unions: you can be promoted and still do a garbage job. Like, it's just like government positions. You could do better and fail upward. I wish people would do better, but when you know that you're getting a consistent paycheck, no matter how good you do or no matter how bad you do, well, you get people like Jesse Brown.
So here are the bullet points, which is basically what I just told you about how the longevity is applied, as well as a shift premium that is set at 85 cents an hour. Additionally, the contract created a special pay for those who are serving as trainers through IMPD policy. And then the tuition reimbursement is also being provided up to $2,500 per year for 80%.
It's just like throwing stuff. Hey, you want this? We'll give you this. Hey, come and work here. We'll pay for your college and your textbooks. Thank you, taxpayers, while our roads are complete garbage.
Percent of the cost of courses and 100% of textbooks, which is in line with what current city policy is.
If I were to put my tinfoil hat on, I'd always think that there was an agreement between these textbook manufacturers or these publishing people, and knowing that those textbooks are going to be paid by the taxpayers. So the publishing people, the textbook manufacturers can really put any price they want for it because they know someone's going to pay for it.
The fiscal impact note provided with this general resolution had a few other things in it, but for the most part, they don't have budgetary impact, or they are just memorializing what is our current policy. So, for example, provision of life insurance for employees is something the city already provides, but it's just memorializing that benefit for the union. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, that was quick. Why is it we're only 5.5 minutes in?
Thank you, Ms. Hanson. Any questions from the council? Yes, Councilor Baines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Abby. I'm on the salary adjustment slide where you list all the specific salaries at the back of the presentation. Just curious, is it
Hey, we match. Not planned, by the way.
4% across the board, or do we also include any sort of like merit pay increases as well?
That's a great question.
It's 4% across the board, and then they would receive longevity on top of that after the third year.
So you're basically just doing whatever is required, and you'll still get that pay increase.
Okay, so is there anything as far as like a performance evaluation that goes into that?
No.
So I guess you could have 2 employees in the same position. One of them's really good at their job. One of them might need a performance improvement plan or something. And they would both get the same pay increase?
Thank you, Josh Bain. Thank you. Exactly what I just said. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes.
Does the city think that's fair?
Well, they're probably like, well, this is part of the union. Can't really do a whole lot about it.
I don't want to speak to fairness. I think I would just say that that's traditionally how labor agreements are negotiated, where
Union
there's a rate
agreements.
that is applied to all employees. And, there are,
Why do you think all these manufacturing jobs are going overseas? It's because of reasons like this.
the opportunity for both the employer and the employee to address performance issues and that stuff, those sort of negotiations.
Yeah,
are
because I'm
also
sure
inside
that
the contract.
happens.
But there's no negotiations for like a pay increase because of good performance?
Correct.
Okay, I guess I would find that a little troubling and maybe something that the city needs to consider as, we continue to have trouble finding staffing and everything, especially when, we are losing people to the private sector
yeah,
here in Indianapolis that probably do reward good performance. So I would just submit that's probably something that we need to look into.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what it is. And you're starting to see this shift right now where people, because I worked for a union shop before, and it was impossible to get promoted there because there was always just the next one up. Hey, you got to wait your turn, pal, and then you can get the promotion, and then you can get the raise with that. But you had 3 or 4 people before you, even though like I did 1,000 times more than they ever did, all combined. But yet I got to wait for them. That's just crazy. That's why all these people are getting out of the union and then going to private. Yeah, we get it. The insurance, whatever. Thank you, Josh Bain, for pointing that out.
Any other questions?
If you notice, too, hold on, Boots. If you notice, too, Josh is the only one that will ask a question. Sometimes Michael Paul Hart will. You never see Dilk. You hardly ever say NA. Maori has been the last few meetings, but Josh is always asking the questions, as they should. People should always be asking questions, most of the time.
Is that a hand up, Councilor Mowry, or not? All right, thank you.
What is Allie Brown doing? She's on her phone.
Mr. Stowers, we don't take public testimony on this.
Oh, well, there you go.
We don't have to, no?
Yeah, all right. And nor do we vote.
That's correct.
Yes, all right. Having no further questions, let's move on.
You take public comment.
Proposal number 225 extends the time for the previously established Commission on Artificial Intelligence to complete its work and draft its final recommendations.
This is what I want to know. What's
And on this,
going
I
on with the
assume,
AI?
Co-chair or Vice Chair Hart has something to say, and everyone should have received a letter to the public regarding the AI Commission. Councilor Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. More than happy to talk on this and explain why, we're asking for an extension here. We really, got under the hood, so to speak, under these first 6 months and realized how much there is to do. I mean, but we've learned a lot of good things from, ISA already had been working on these things and had driven initiatives to focus on AI. But we've had many speakers come in from professional government organizations, high-tech organizations, educational organizations to really talk through best practices of what the city can do to move forward. And there's certain things that,
like
that we haven't got
Montoya.
to even scratch the surface on that we want to, which is why we're asking for the extension. But just to kind of give you some more detail into that, What we've learned over this, past couple months is that from a policy and perspective standpoint, we're heading in the right direction. There's more work to do. There's legal considerations that need to be had, data considerations that we have to look into, and that's going to take people to do it. We've certainly learned that this far, but we've also learned that technology moves fast, right?
You know what that means? That means they're going to have to try and find the money for it.
When this was originally presented to you in the first draft, things have exponentially grown since then in terms of technology, and the productivity tools that are available to the city weren't available then but are coming to available now. And so in terms of that, and then something very interesting, there's a report that we'll have ready for you sooner than later out of the ISA office, but we actually surveyed folks from all the city county employees, or gave them the option to do a survey, and there was a resounding support for wanting to use AI. Of course, there's concerns for
As long as they're okay with their job being replaced with a computer.
the types of technologies that can be used egregiously. And we've talked about these things at length inside of the commission in terms of putting humans in the loop to make sure to check for biases and things of that nature. But there's things that are going to happen at the development level that don't get caught until they're implemented. That is a true fact, and we've learned processes to try and identify those as we look to implement these tools or look to vet out those sorts of things. So training is a big topic that we went through and requests. And so we have requests so far that I know Chairman Boots this evening and I are looking to request even for next year's budget when it comes to
What I just say.
artificial intelligence ISA as a direct reflection of this committee. But where we haven't been able to scratch the surface is understanding really the direct impact and needs of the department leads. We know that there are needs out there, but what we've learned in this first 6 months is that there are strategic ways to prioritize those various use cases based on cost, risk, data availability, and things of that nature. And we have adopted and brought in all of this good information that we can use to help identify those use cases and prioritize them. However, we need this additional time to start that process. And so, where we are today and where we want to go is, I told you we did a survey. We're actually taking that one step farther now, and we've been utilizing the Office of Audit and Performance to do that. And now we've taken it one step farther to go deeper into those department heads to really ask, what are you talking about? What are you looking at? How can we help solve this, to understand what their direct needs are from a technology perspective, and then put out a request for information. So that way we can learn from the public, right? The people that do these things on day to day, and not necessarily vet, but bring in the information and help these heads who are busy doing, think about DPW, think about BNS, right? They're doing day-to-day operations that, and even ISA, they have tons of folks, and I'm sure they would love to dig into this deeper, but the commission, OAP, the RFIs allow us to help do that work for them. And so that's where we want to take this, start looking at those use cases and looking at ways to actually start streamlining and improving efficiencies with the tool sets that are available to us. And so that's why we're here today to ask for an extension. We are planning to issue a report. I don't have the date firmly in my mind, so I don't want to say it wrong, but there will be an interim report. I can promise you that very soon to show all these things that I'm talking about. ISA has been very gracious, and we've had a dedicated liaison to that. Amrit has been phenomenal at doing everything he's been doing. So it's going in the right direction, and we just want to keep full steam ahead. And so asking for an extension this evening on that proposal.
Oh, I don't like it at all. Not one bit. Michael Paul Hart, listen, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Is that how the saying goes? And all I can say is that we're just moving faster into a security state. That's all. We're going to have a social credit score and yada yada. It'll eventually be weaponized to harm us instead of help us.
Thank you, Councilor Hart. Any other comments from the council?
No.
Hearing none, do we have a motion for proposal?
We got like 4 more
225?
minutes left. What is going on
Yes,
here?
Madam Leader.
That's okay. Mr. Chairman, I move proposal 225 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Hearing a second. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All in favor, the same. All right, so passed.
Is that like a
Thank you,
is that like
Councilor
a
Hart.
joke or something?
We're going to go back and revisit briefly proposal 210. One, we are obligated to offer the opportunity for public input.
Oh, there
on
is a
this
public
adoption
comment.
Of a report. So is there anybody here in the public this evening that would like to speak to
Oh,
Proposal
no. I've seen this physiognomy before.
Subject to, yes. Okay.
Oh, no. What do you think, boys and girls? Do we have some Hamas folks over here? You really think that these people are here to talk about the fiscal impact of a union contract? Really? Really?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we open the floor to public comments, we would like to remind committee members and the public of a few ground rules. So everyone can have a fair chance to speak and be heard. It is important that we each observe the committee from proceeding through tonight's agenda in a reasonably effective manner will be removed. Please remember that some types of violence are not protected by the First Amendment. We will deal with those issues if they come up, but we do not think they will. And now, Mr. Chair, if a committee member asks for consent to adopt these rules, we can proceed to public comment.
Do I hear consent? Consent, all right. If the speakers feel free, please state your name and address.
Oh, boy. All right. Hold on. What do you think the odds are that this person will be speaking about Palestine? Okay, now let's see
For the record,
what happens.
please.
Let's see what happens.
Hi, I'm Taylor Parker, and my address is 9067 Doral Court. Sorry about the hat. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I hope me appearing to the City Council on my birthday shows how much I care about my community and how much I respect your position. I'm excited to be here. Also, thanks for throwing me this party. I've been an Indianapolis resident for 8 years now, and I'm pretty upset with the way things are going. In addition to the fiscal impact of the IMPD's union agreement with the city, I'm also concerned that my tax dollars are being used to fund the genocide. It is with this concern that I
Here we go.
She can be
No.
escorted out, please.
Let the lady
Order.
speak.
We've heard enough.
Thank you.
Oh, she was real quick about it, huh? All right.
Any other members of the public would like to comment on Proposal 210?
Why do they keep doing this? I don't get it. Can someone tell me why they think like this is gonna matter if you have people going up to the podium and talking about genocide and $12 million being funded to help it or whatnot, which, by the way, no one has able to prove a report on that. I just don't get it. Hey, if you want to pay for parking, go for it, because we know you didn't ride a bike there.
Hearing none, we also must make a motion to adopt the statements made this evening in the information from
So move.
Ms. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second. All right, all in favor, say yay.
Yay.
All opposed? All right. the ayes have it.
Jeez.
Having no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Hey, that was quick, right? Hey, we were out of there in less than 25 minutes. Well, guess what? There are no meetings next week, and I think there's only a couple of meetings the following week before there's going to have the full council video or full council meeting, which I do plan on attending. However, I might be speaking at an event that day, but we'll find out. I probably won't. And, they'll introduce more bull crap into it. And I keep hearing that Smelly Brownstein is going to introduce some ceasefire crap for Palestine, which it will be the biggest joke. If you want the city council to look like a giant joke, Vibe Osley will allow that to happen. But you know what? He did help fund that commie piece of shit. But maybe he will. I don't know. It's election year. We'll see what happens next year, since there are no elections next year, how much they'll be able to get away with that garbage. So, in the meantime, Mike Braun came out with his property tax plan, along with a few other things too. I'll probably be talking about that within the next few days on the Woody Review, since there won't be a whole lot. But you know what? I'm going to be out campaigning, so maybe I will and maybe I won't. Until next time.